Hi there, my name is Emily.
Hi, I'm Molly Day.
My name is Colin Bikeman.
I'm recording this video because I identify as LGBTQ, bisexual to be more specific.
I'm bisexual.
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I'm gay.
I knew from a pretty young age that there was something going on. I remember in 5th grade, I actually planned to come out to my parents as a lesbian because I didn't know what bisexual meant. I didn't know that there was a spectrum. I didn't know that you could be, you could like girls and boys. And I knew that I definitely had an attraction to women. And so I wanted to come out, and I remember this was 5th grade. And I chickened out and I didn't come out, but like just knowing it was pretty early that I knew that something was different, and I was very confused because I also had crushes on boys. And I remember having a crush on one of my early best friends in like 3rd or 4th grade. So it definitely was an early thing. And then in 7th grade, I met this girl who I remember we had a sleepover and we confided in each other somehow. I don't know how it came up, but we confided in each other and said like, oh, I like girls too. And because we both liked girls, we decided, hey, I think it's normal. And so in 7th grade, I was like, maybe I'm straight. And so like over my life, it was just kind of like an up and down thing. And it wasn't until I went to college, a small liberal arts school, that I met a bunch more LGBTQ people that I didn't grow up with a lot of people that identified, and learned so much more about it just by being around people and taking workshops and being in a small liberal arts community that was so much more willing to embrace any lifestyle, any sexual orientation. And so I felt much more comfortable being myself and kind of stopped. I was a little bit in denial, but I also kind of knew that I was queer, and I finally realized that I'm bisexual my sophomore year.
I came out to myself, I guess, around junior year of high school.
Or at least that I can remember from my childhood was when I was about 6 or 7 years old. I remember I had a picture of a male underwear model that I got from a box of underwear, and I taped it up to my bunk bed. And I remember my brother telling me that's weird. I just told him in my young, innocent mind, I said, oh, I just want to look like him. I wanted to look muscular, and I wanted to look good, in a sense. So for a long time, that's how I kind of dealt with my attractions. I noticed, especially starting in middle school, that I was drawn to men and essentially how they looked, just because I just thought they were attractive. And I never had those same feelings towards girls, and I always questioned myself why. I always knew deep down that I was attracted to men, I think, but for a long time I just suppressed it. I told myself that those attractions, maybe they would go away, and that I'm Mormon, so I can't be gay. That's not a possibility. I'm gonna get married in the temple and get married to a woman, obviously. And so for a long time, that was kind of how I kind of dealt with those things. I would just deny that I was gay and just forget about it. And so in high school, I was 16, sophomore year of high school, and I just woke up one day and I noticed all of these guys like normal. I was just admiring some during school, walking around in the hallways, and I said, I'm gay.
I told my now fiance, who I'd been dating since I was 16, and he was like super duper awesome about it. He was the first person that I told.
I slowly came out to my friends. Some of my close friends in school or in theater, senior year. I never really came out to a lot of my church friends. I was always kind kind of scared to do that, and just kind of like, a lot of them know now because I'm pretty open about it on my Twitter and my social media, so they just kind of found out by accident. And I think I was just really afraid of how they would react because I've known them for such a long time, since I was little, and the LDS Church is very conservative and not very open to the LGBTQ community yet. So I had a lot of anxiety about coming out to them.
I worked up the courage that night. I texted my friend, told her that I wanted to tell her something, my best friend, Madison, and a couple of days later I came out to her. And the experience was liberating in a way. It's almost like when you watch a suspenseful movie, you realize after 45 seconds you're holding your breath. And then when you exhale, the relief is immediate. Well, living in secret or not telling people about my attractions or not accepting it for 16 years of my life was like I was holding my breath. And when I finally was able to come out about that, I was able to exhale like a relief, like this weight on my shoulders was lifted off.
After I told my fiance, I went ahead and told, it was last year, my junior year, that I decided to tell my immediate family members, my brother, mom, and dad. That one was definitely a harder one. I mean, they weren't like, they're not homophobic, but I think they're worried. Well, they are, just about me coming out. They basically told me not to come out. Only like a select few people know that I identify as queer. But yeah, coming out to my family, they basically told me, like, because I'm already an African American and a woman, it just felt like one more strike against me in the world, like one more reason to not like me or to discriminate against me, to oppress me. And because I'm a person of low social power, low social standing, I'm just a college student without a degree even yet, they basically told me that I shouldn't come out. They also worried about how my boyfriend at the time would be treated for it. They worried that if his friends found out about it, then his friends would make fun of him or something. And it wasn't something that he worried about, but it definitely was something. I understand where they're coming from. I definitely do, and it's one of the reasons that I haven't like fully come out at home. But it was hard to hear at the time. Like, there definitely were tears. Yeah, that was really rough. But like I don't know. So it's a little awkward. But they definitely, accept me for who I am and like love me no matter what. It was just something that I think they worry about me because of it. Just kind of like they see it as like one more strike against me in this very closed-minded society that we live in.
I didn't come out to my mom until this past November, and I came out to all of my siblings this past December. When I came out to my mom, that wasn't a choice I made. It kind of happened to me. I had been going to a lot of LGBTQ outreach meetings at BYU through their student inclusion and outreach office, and I had been volunteering at InCircle, which is a LGBTQ youth resource center in Provo. It's right across the street from the Provo City Temple. And I had all of those in my calendar, and my mom saw them on my phone, and so she texted me and asked me if I was gay. I had been thinking about coming out to her for a really long time, but I always was just very afraid to, because I didn't know how she would react, and I didn't know how to come out to her, because she had never given off vibes that she was going to be very accepting of having a gay kid. Just from things she said to me as I was growing up and ways she reacted to my gay friends growing up, I just didn't feel like it would be a safe or fun experience. So when she texted me that, I had a panic attack for about like 4 hours. It was not great. And then I finally texted her and I said, yeah, Mom, I'm bisexual. But I still plan on staying in the church and going on a mission and marrying a man in the temple. And that's still something I plan on doing. She texted me back a little bit later and said, I love you. And then we just didn't talk for a few days. And then eventually I think she sent me another text a couple days later. And then we FaceTimed in a couple weeks. So everything's okay now. We don't really talk about it a lot. I came out to all of my siblings after Thanksgiving, and those all went really well. They were all very happy that I had trusted them with that, and all very accepting. So that was a very positive experience for me. I have been really blessed to not really experience a lot of discrimination in my life. And I've been really blessed to find a really great community out here at BYU. I have a lot of friends that are part of the LGBTQ community or allies, and I've been able to find a really supportive community out here. But I know that's not the case for everyone.
It came to a point where I decided to tell my parents, and that was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do. My parents are very religious. They've raised me in a religion where being gay just isn't something that you can really be. Well, telling them, it took a long time. I remember I was driving in the car with them for about an hour, just working up the courage to tell them. And my mom finally prodded me to say what I needed to say, because I told them I wanted to say something and I just didn't do it for that whole hour that I was in the car. And so I finally told them, and it's very hard. My dad was very accepting and loving, and my mom didn't really understand at the time, but after a while she understood, and she became very supportive and loving of me, and she's always been very loving of me. Even when I did tell her, she told me that she loved me, even though she couldn't quite understand. And after a while, she was able to come to that knowledge of how could she could help me and support me. Coming out has been something that's essential. It's something that's necessary. I'm not open to the whole world, although I do usually tell my close friends or friends that I meet that I've known for a while. I'll tell them because I feel like I'll be able to I can trust in them. And although I may at some point come out to everybody on a wide scale, I'm not sure when that time will be, or if it will ever be that time. I don't necessarily feel like I have to tell everybody, just because I know who I am and I know what I want in life, so I don't feel like everybody needs to know about my sexual attractions or that I'm gay.
I think in the future I will come out to more people that I trust, but I'm definitely not anywhere near coming out, doing like a coming out on Facebook, or even just being out in general yet.